Hello and welcome back to Formation Lab.
It's been a while. It feels
Your
like
yeah, I know. Your number one F1 fantasy podcast. I don't know if that's true or not, but we might be the
the
only
only fantasy.
F1 fantasy
That's our
podcast.
lane, and it's been our lane. Is that fantasy Formula One isn't really popular, so
I think we're figuring out like for a reason.
it's different than fantasy football, and it's different
Yeah.
than fantasy. I think fantasy sports started with baseball, with a
Mm.
group of guys. I saw like an ESPN 30 for 30 about it or something.
Yeah.
It was just a group of guys who tracked the baseball stats on their own and did like a
Oh.
fantasy league, and
Hmm.
where they all pretended to be GMs of their own
Right.
team. But that yeah, that's not what I planned on
That's
talking about. But
fun.
yeah, that's like the origins of
That's
fantasy
cute though, like
sports,
back when you're having to like score it yourself and
right?
like
Because there
put all
wasn't a
this stuff
system.
together.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool.
but
All right, so this
Montreal
week in Montreal.
looked beautiful. Weather was beautiful, as
Yeah.
it was here in Boston, which we're not that far away.
Yeah, that is true.
Four
That
and a
is
half
true.
hours. So maybe in the future we'll drive up there and go to the Montreal. But it looked packed,
Yeah, people
super
are really
busy.
coming out. Do you think it's because they love Lance Stroll so much?
No,
Really? You don't think so?
no.
He got last.
Did he really? Of the
Yes.
finishers.
Well, yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So to recap, George Russell won the race,
Hmm.
held off Max Verstappen, and then the most exciting incident would be
The last 4 laps. So the race was pretty like smooth sailing for 66
some
laps.
offsetting strategies, which led to some
True,
overtaking.
true. Questionable strategies, I would say, from Williams and Ferrari.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it wasn't their race,
Did
but
anyone actually end up doing a one stop though?
I don't know. I think a few people did, and
Okay.
they might have benefited.
I can't
Um,
remember now.
I don't know if Ocon did, but I think Ocon finished like ninth in a Haas, and I don't know
Mm-hmm.
exactly where he started. But there,
No, Ocon was on a one stop. I remember that.
okay, then yeah, it worked. And Hulkenberg ended up getting eighth, even though he did the two stop, but he had a really good opening stint on
Which
the
sucks because
on the hards.
it looked like they were trying to go for the one stop with Albon, right? But then that just got totally messed up.
Yeah, Albon's had a forgettable few month.
That guy, that poor
So,
guy.
but yeah, it was an exciting race and not fortunate enough fantasy wise for me. It's pretty
Fair,
bad.
but you finally got the papaya like battle that you've been wanting.
Yeah, I wanted
That's kind of our
real
first one really of the season.
first incident where they've
Yeah.
come like really wheel to wheel.
Right. So both McLarens, they were fighting for second,
No, they were fighting
fourth.
they were fourth and
I'm dumb.
fifth
Yes, yes, and then yes, Piastri was chasing Kimi for
for
third.
podium.
Which
Yeah.
is why Lando wasn't able to overtake because Piastri kept getting the DRS from Kimi, which education moment for everybody out there who does it's a DRS train, right? Is what it was causing. So basically it means that like so I'll just take this one for example. Lando is coming behind Piastri. He's getting in DRS range, right? Which means he should get a little bit of a boost to try to overtake. But what ends up happening is that Piastri is
Also has
also getting that
the same
same boost.
advantage.
So
Yeah.
then it's kind of net zero because if they're both getting that same boost of DRS, then
Yeah.
it's basically as if they're getting no boost at all, if
Right,
they both
right.
have it.
You'll both have the same advantage, therefore you're not able to pass them.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So that's what ended up happening. Except then poor Lando.
Yeah.
Lando binned
And I
it.
saw his post race interview and he still took blame for it, but then he
Yeah.
said he thought Oscar would give him more room than he did. And
Mm.
Oscar didn't need to give him more
No,
room.
why would Oscar give him room?
Right. So that's why Lando was like, why would I think that he was going to give me this
Right,
space?
right. Do you think he still thinks like he's the number one driver of the team? Like
Yeah,
technically,
probably.
even though they don't do that?
I'm surprised they didn't turn on the radio. You know how they used to try to be like, "Oh, let me pass. I can catch
Right,
Kimmy,
right.
for a podium. Like a podium's on if you let me through." But I think that conversation's out the door whenever one of them's obviously leading the world championship.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's not like you're gonna do team
I
orders
mean,
to
who
try to
knows?
score a
Maybe
podium.
Lando did try and we just didn't hear it. But like,
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
think he'd even think about it when he's like, yeah, they know? Like he knows that they're
They're
probably
not. They're gonna
favoring
let
him
him
a
race it
little
out.
bit.
No, they're gonna favor whoever's in the championship lead, and right now it's
Yeah.
Piastri.
Right, right.
So
So yeah, he ended up he was trying to go around the outside on the left, thought he had enough space and then didn't, and he just slammed into, well, not slammed, it really was just like minimal contact, but it took out Lando's entire front wing.
yeah,
So his race was dusted,
yep,
done and dusted,
yep,
which is it, I know I have been like a certified Lando hater, I think, for some reason this year.
yeah,
For some reason this really got me of just like, and but this is why like I sympathize with him so much. I care about him a lot. He's so hard on himself.
mm,
Just like immediately, like I don't know, you would think Max in that situation might have tried to blame the other driver. You know what I mean? Like been a little bit more ruthless with it, but Lando immediately, which I like that about him.
yeah,
Lando being really real and authentic with it, but it also sounds like he just takes it so personally when he makes these mistakes, which is why I think he's not doing as well. His like mental game, he I think he at this point is feeling really discouraged, and is just like, and he's talked about how he is really hard on himself.
yeah,
So I think that's just like really getting to him,
hmm, yeah,
which sucks. It makes me sad because it's like, I mean, I was gonna say we all make mistakes, but I guess if you're trying to be a world drivers championship, you just can't.
you can't make those kinds of mistakes.
Yeah,
Luckily it wasn't for like the win, and then um,
fair,
and then a big DNF, because that could have been a 25-point swing.
fair,
So
fair.
it Lando's lucky in that sense, that it was just you were fighting for fourth.
Right.
So I don't know I forget how many points exactly you get for a fourth. Is it like 8 points?
Something like that. I don't know. All I know is
It
that Piastri right now is at 198 and Lando is at 176. So
Okay.
it is swinging a little bit more in his favor.
Yeah,
There's a
but
little bit more of a
there's
gap
plenty of
there,
time.
but
We're not even to the summer break yet. We're not even halfway through the season.
right. But I think the thing we actually need to be well, Lando might need to be worried about is like Max coming up behind him.
Yeah,
He's at
yeah, yeah,
155 right now. So
yeah.
there's like a decent, like it's pretty equal split, but
Hmm.
what do you think?
No, I think there's plenty of time. It's too close to call. But right now, momentum's all in Piastri's court. So, you know, we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's doing well with the momentum, I will
Yeah,
say. He hasn't really disappointed me yet.
yeah.
That's my boy.
So fantasy wise, though,
Fantasy
how did you do?
wise, not the best, I will say. Not the best. So it's quite fitting, I guess, for this week. Happy Father's Day to our winner for this week, which is your dad.
Yeah, yeah. He did well. He used it. He used the unlimited unlimited chip,
Limitless.
limitless.
Yeah.
In which there's no cost cap, and you just pick whatever 5 drivers you want and whatever two constructors you want, and then
Which to be fair, two of our teams this week did this. And you
yeah,
would think going in, Lando's a safe pick.
no,
So this was a challenging week to actually use that limitless because both of them did take Lando. Had I think they're both of them had their two time on him,
yeah,
and
wow,
he ended up DNFing.
yeah,
So
yeah. So they didn't get as big of a points haul
still
as
won,
you would expect. Yeah, but
but
still won because they, I think, all had like George Russell.
right, Lollipop
So
Man's dream team: Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton over Leclerc. That's interesting. And George Russell took McLaren and Ferrari. See, but even that, like, I feel like I guess you Mercedes has been looking great, but Mercedes did crazy this week. That's why our second place person, Beefy Nugs,
yeah,
is our second place person without taking a limitless chip because they just took Mercedes, got
nice.
78 points.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody else like didn't really perform that well on this person's team. Just they had Mercedes.
yeah.
They had two people on the podium.
It's rough because neither of us are big Mercedes fans.
No, not
Drivers or
particularly.
teams. Like not that we, you know, I would never use like hate, but we're just not. We just don't root
Well,
for them the way.
You're a Red Bull man, so
Right.
like I would say you could probably use that word.
No hate, no. But
Mm, I don't know.
not
George
root
Russell
for.
is really getting on my nerves these days. I don't know if I'd say hate, but
Yeah.
like the only
No.
person I hate in F1
It's
is
Stroll
Lance Stroll
because of
because he's a nepo baby.
yeah, and the answers he's giving in these interviews is just so, it's so rude to like
Yes.
the people who enjoy this sport.
Yes.
and they're so short, and he just doesn't seem to care. And I
Right.
know there's so many and I think behind he must be struggling with something personally, like
Like mental health or
yes, I
something.
do think
Yeah.
so. Like so, Fernando Alonso. The only redeeming quality I think Stroll has is that Fernando Alonso likes him
Okay. Yeah.
as a person, and so like maybe Stroll behind the scenes is struggling with something. I have to think because he's not performing. He gives the shortest interviews possible that are just
Seems like annoyed.
rude and sharp, like annoyed that you're asking him about Formula One, and it's like
It's
you're a
like it's your
Formula One
job,
driver. What are you
right?
talking about? Like, so and no one's making you do this. Like maybe the pressure that his dad has put him on to do this every week and travel the globe, and maybe it's just not what he wants to do with his life.
But
But
the thing
like,
is like I think his dad would be more than happy to replace him. I
yeah,
don't think he's doing it for dad's approval. I think he just is like
we
wanting
don't
to do
know.
it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
we don't know, but
But it really, like you say, it really is like a disservice. Like one to his
there's so many
fans.
kids, young drivers and old drivers who would love
Yeah.
that opportunity to race, and he takes that away from someone who
Wow.
actually deserves.
He
But
has a lot to say about this topic, don't you?
no, he's not going to do it now. He's just going to smell it.
Come on. But it is really a disservice because he's at his home GP
Yeah,
and still being rude. Like he has a whole grandstand there. Fans who came out maybe particularly specifically to see him, and he's just like, nah,
yeah,
I don't know,
yeah.
just like not
I'm trying to
caring.
gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he's struggling with some mental health issues.
He's got enough money, go to therapy. Like, come on now.
Right. So okay.
Get a sports
Now
psychologist. Like,
how'd my team do?
oh well, I didn't say I got fourth, so not
Very
terrible,
good.
not too terrible. This week I had you made me make a terrible decision,
Colapinto?
which was to switch out Bortoletto to switch out Colapinto for Bortoletto.
Sure. I
There was
mean,
no way to know. I mean, Colapinto hasn't been performing well until
you
now,
didn't get
so
points, so
true. Bortoletto got me one point.
oh, okay, then what? Yeah, it's not like Colapinto got
Why did
would have.
Isaac Hadjar get -2? Did he lose positions in the
I
race?
think so,
Mm.
but
Oh, you lost 4 positions.
yeah, yeah, it was a rough race for the
Yikes.
Racing Bulls
You started ninth and ended 16th.
strategy. The Racing
Ugh.
Bulls strategy strikes again of
Yeah,
just
where the heck was Liam Lawson?
DNF'd. Yeah, because
Oh, that's right. That's right.
yeah, some issues.
Really forgettable on
Yeah,
that regard. I mean, the whole race was kind of forgettable until the very end. Not that it was terrible. Like there was
I
so
disagree. I think you were just tired.
okay, maybe.
Yeah.
But I had Piastri, Leclerc, Hadjar, Alonso, Bortoletto, McLaren, Sauber. So a decent 94. Oh, also technically these are all still provisional points. I guess they haven't like solidified them. So there is a chance that this changes, but probably not by much. Um Austin, you want to tell them what you did this week?
Well, I took Max Verstappen out.
Which
The
is so funny because you have been so insistent on keeping Max this whole time and then the
Yeah,
one week
I
that
wanted to
actually
change it
would have
up for
helped you.
Charles Leclerc, and that's what I did. I changed him up for Charles. I was feeling Ferrari for some reason. I don't know why.
It was so
Um,
unwarranted though because
yeah, it was
Charles
out of
didn't even
nowhere.
compete in
Right,
the practices.
right. I
They did
was
well in
I
FP3,
was just like hoping, like I don't know,
like I do. I know
just
you
to
know how
kind of
I
change it up.
feel.
No, I mean, yeah. So I was just hoping you would do well, and
So you got a total
no,
of
and then
32 points this week.
it's
You're
because I
in
had some DNFs
yeah, you're in ninth.
because I
Um,
had Liam Lawson DNF'd,
yep,
Albon DNF'd,
yep.
and Lando Norris DNF.
Well, you didn't. Oh yeah, with McLaren. Yeah,
So so I had
yeah.
3 DNFs on my squad.
However, you weren't in last.
Who
The
was?
person who is in last, I think, uh, has just completely forgotten that they are competing in this
Yeah,
league, which is Yuki Go. And they got a
that might
whopping
be Nick.
it is a whopping -35 points because he has 2 inactive drivers on his team.
He has Yuki from when he was racing with and Jack Doohan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Racing Bulls got -17 points this week too.
Yeah. A brutal week.
Wild.
I think I don't remember watching their race too much towards
Mm-mm.
the end there, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say it was strategy.
Yeah.
and then they messed up strategy. So
Right. Right. Yeah, I know. I feel like there was no coverage on them at all unless you were tuning into their like specific
yeah, not a lot
driver,
of coverage on the
whatever.
back because there was so much fighting at the front. So
Yeah.
that's why I thought it was good. You know, it gets really races that are boring are whenever like the front is settled in and there's large gaps in the front and then all the action's kind of like at the back, the fighting for points.
True.
This I feel like I wasn't paying much attention to the hosses,
That is
to the
fair. That
kicks.
is
I was
fair.
just you were constantly seeing like what's the state of the front runners.
That's true. They
And I
were like pretty bunched up at the front when
yeah,
usually the race winner is like
one or two. Yeah, it's between. It could have came down to a lot of people, but it ended up being the same 1-2 as the start. But that's what
yeah.
it is.
But
I
but
think
but
they
usually the person in first kind of runs away with it a little bit.
yeah
Like they get like a 30-second gap,
yeah
which didn't seem to happen. Like the commentators were even saying that it looks like there had been a safety car when there hadn't been with how bunched up the front of the
mm-hmm
pack was.
mm-hmm.
What were
So
you gonna say?
nothing. No. All right, booms and busts.
Well, I also want to name that we do have our head-to-head league that is still going on, and as of right now, I am dominating.
Yeah.
Not like
Well,
dominating.
you 2 wins up more than me. I have 4 wins. You have 6.
Yes. So,
That's plenty. Like that's not that.
2 wins
I wouldn't
ahead.
call that dominating.
I don't know. We'll see. So, I am currently in the lead in our head-to-head battle.
Nice. Congrats.
Thank you so much. It feels really good. Um All
Okay.
right, booms and busts.
I'm boom. I'm going to go Kimi Antonelli.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know why I thought you were saying bust, and I was like, what?
No, boom Kimi,
Yeah.
first ever podium.
Yeah.
Um, congrats to them.
Easy
He's
boom right
18
there.
years old and he got
That's
a podium in Canada.
crazy.
So, yeah, boom, and then bust. I'm gonna go. It's got to be Lando Norris.
Mm,
It's either that or Albon, but Lando Norris. Yeah, to be fighting for the championship into DNF,
that
absolutely brutal and crushing. Like,
yeah. I mean, who knows? Like, if this does come down to the wire, like that could be the difference.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, it sucks. It sucks to see him just make a mistake like that.
I'm rooting for Lando over Oscar just because I think Oscar will be a champion one day, but I think this is Lando's chance to
Do you
be.
think if he doesn't win this year, like he's fully lost momentum?
People say that about both Lando and Oscar. There's no 2026 new regulations.
True.
Red Bulls might not be good, but they'll be up there. Ferrari's looking good, Aston Martin's looking good, Mercedes is looking good. Like they could theoretically, McLaren could drop to like the 4th best team on the grid. Like,
Who? Yeah, it'll be so interesting.
And that means no McLaren driver in the next regulation era is gonna like be able to compete for a championship. This is Oscar and Lando's potentially one and only chance to be a world champion.
Ooh, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And I feel like that maybe that's the pressure that's reading on Lando.
And I think they know that. I think they know that. Like,
right.
That's
what
that
I'm
McLaren
saying.
won't be a top team. There's a very good chance that McLaren is the 4th best team next year.
Jeez. Yeah.
So, that's just the reality of it. But I was gonna say I do want Lando, but I want to see Oscar be world champion to see if he can like show some emotion when he wins. like what will that be like?
Right. That is
Whenever
a good
he's like,
point.
will he scream? And he like, yeah, because he never does that. When he wins, he's like, good job. It's like, no, you just won a Formula One race.
Yeah, like give something.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's my booms and busts. Yours?
My boom is also going to be Kimmy. It's really hard to not say that that's like the boom for the week. I don't want to be repetitive, but
no, you gotta choose something else. I've already
okay.
given him his praise.
And the boom.
It's gonna be George Russell.
No. No. Alonso.
Sure. Yeah. Where
Alonso got 7th.
Yeah, that's really good.
Actually, my boom goes to Adrian Newey.
Yeah, for having a. You think he's had an impact?
I don't know. They looked really good in quali. Remember?
Yeah.
Like really good in quali.
Yeah.
So I like there has been some improvements made to the Aston Martin
Yeah,
Though
and
you wouldn't be able to tell by the way that Stroll
well, that's
drives
what I
the
was saying.
damn
That
thing, but
Adrian Newey will be designing Aston Martin's 2026 car, so there's a good chance that
yeah.
Aston Martin is better than McLaren next year.
I wonder
So
if be-
like that's a definite, not a definite. That's a possibility.
well, I wonder if that's like if this is looming Stroll's end of his career with these regulation changes and then maybe anticipating being a better team that they're going to need a better driver in that seat.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay.
And then my bust for the week is George's attempt to get Verstappen penalized. It was so stupid. It was like really bad.
It's like, yeah, it's one thing if the race wasn't going to end under the safety car, and if we had a few more laps left to
Right.
try, and Max was maybe going to catch you to try to get him to go have a penalty, but the race was going to end under the safety
Right.
car. There's like almost no like
No benefit.
no benefit other than to screw him over.
Right. For like a race to come, I guess, if he
So
has to
yeah,
serve a
it was
penalty.
it was awfully petty.
It was so stupid. It was like Agent George to the max of like he just tried to overtake me under a safety car. Like
Yeah.
yeah, because you just slammed on the brakes.
Like I haven't even seen Max do a move like
no,
that.
no.
Where you're under the safety car and you just slow down so much that
Yeah.
that you almost pass him, and overtaking under a safety car is obviously a penalty. And I think by the rule books he did. Like Max did
Yeah.
overtake him,
Yeah.
but the stewards luckily did nothing about it.
Right, because they saw
Because
right
they
through
saw
George's.
that George slowed down so much that like what did they want Max to do to stop?
Right.
So
I mean, if anything, like
just
George maybe should have gotten a penalty for erratic driving.
right. Well, okay, that's another point. Is that why would George risk a
Right,
penalty?
the risk versus reward is like not there.
Safety car's out. You do the last few laps under the safety car,
You win.
and you win.
Right.
Why would you brake check to throw that away whenever you have the win already locked?
Yeah, that's like
So that's kind of
a big bust on his strategy there.
risk
Right,
that
right.
he was taking on.
Is really stupid.
So, but you know, it didn't happen, but could have.
Another bust, I think, was Albon's race strategist. He was so mad at them.
Yeah, really questionable.
He was like, I don't know
stuff.
why you guys don't listen to me. It's like, I don't know. I feel like I was hearing that a lot across the field today. A lot of drivers being unhappy
with their well, Charles was another one.
Yeah, I was gonna say Leclerc almost always, but
and then probably Hamilton as well.
yeah, Hamilton I feel like hasn't been complaining a lot with the Ferraris quite yet. Maybe he doesn't feel like he's quite earned his spot there to be able to
like
fully
really yell.
Right, but
yeah, I feel like next year he's gonna give it to him. Like he's not gonna hold back.
Yeah. Oop, my bad.
Cool.
Yeah. So
all right, and then we have a break.
Yes.
A week off.
Well, I did want to ask you with next year looming, who do you want to be in the Cadillac?
Oh, in Cadillac, because that
Yeah.
we could do like a preseason episode or something.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm just curious where your head's at right now as far as who you want to be in those seats.
I don't even think Daniel Ricciardo wants to come back. Otherwise, I would want him to come back.
I know.
But the names floated around, I've heard, the only legitimate ones I think have been Bottas and Checo. So yeah, I think that would be a hilarious duo.
That's a great team. I was telling you about this, right? That when Stroll was out for surgery, there was talks that potentially he would someone else would need to come in and race for him for Canada, right? And so two of the reserve drivers were competing in Le Mans actually. So the third person that they would have turned to would have been Bottas. And if he had stepped in, he would have had to serve a 5-place grid penalty from that he would need to serve from last season.
Yeah.
I don't know why I think that's so funny. It feels so petty.
If they do transcend seasons,
right,
then like it could be like he could be serving a penalty that's over 2 years old when he finally comes back to Formula One.
Like if that's what I'm wondering is like if
2-year-old penalty, or do they like expire? Or they just like
right.
Is
like
there
if
a statute of limitations on penalties?
Well, that's what I'm wondering is like if he does join Cadillac, is he gonna have to serve that penalty during the first race?
Yeah, probably.
That's so silly.
Yeah, that that doesn't make sense. It should end at the end of the season, right?
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I do not know. Are we getting new FIA things going on in the next season?
I don't actually know when that like vote is for the
Yeah,
new FIA president.
I hope so. I mean, it's been in, I feel like there's been buzz around it, so I feel like it must be
Yeah.
happening
I'm
sometime
sure a
soon.
lot's going on behind the scenes that we obviously have no clue about.
Right.
But
Yeah, that's fair. Who would I want to be? Thank you for asking. In the Cadillac.
I wonder
That's
if that captured.
Fernando.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you could hear our little kitty cat purring. Um, who would I want to be? I mean, I would want Daniel Ricardo.
Daniel and Bottas. That'd be a good duo.
Hmm.
Two No. I called Bottas Australian just
He's
because
like an
he's like
honorary Australian.
for a second there I thought he was
That's
definitely
so funny.
Australian, but no, he just has a mullet.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I might need to give it some more thought.
Maybe one of the newer drivers.
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe they go with one of the new rookies. Maybe Cadillac goes out
Mm.
like, "Hey, Hajar, do you want to
Ooh.
race for Cadillac?"
Yeah, if they're trying to scout out the next Max
Right, because there are
Verstappen.
plenty of good rookies right
Yeah,
now.
that is true. Although I doubt, I mean, I guess they have rookie contracts, so they probably could
Or they
change
might go
teams.
with someone from IndyCar.
Ooh, yeah. That could be interesting. What do you think, Francis?
Mhm.
Good point. So yeah, so next week, not next week.
We're
Sorry, we're
off,
off next
and
week
then
again.
Austria.
And then Austria, the Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, it's a beautiful track.
Yes, it
The
is.
Austrian countryside, and yeah, it looks really cool.
Well, and it's no, that's the Netherlands. Wait,
Hmm.
is it Max's race?
The Netherlands, yes, outside of Amsterdam.
Austria's.
Austria's. What do you mean?
Yes. Okay, I'm getting confused. Anyway, it's the Red Bull Ring.
Yes.
And so the notable aspects of the track for next time around,
Oh yeah.
not anything too crazy. It's a lot of straights at the beginning, and uphill right turns. So those turns are a little bit slower, but that means they're going up, they're going up, they're going up, and then on the back half of the track, they're going downhill the whole
Mm.
time. So it's kind of like a toboggan of sorts that they're building crazy speed, have really quick turns in the second half. So for the first half, it's a little bit slower because they are going uphill, but they get a chance to have a lot of overtakes. Um, so I don't know whose car suits that, but
We'll see.
yeah, we will see. Last year, Russell won.
Really?
Yeah, it was Russell, Piastri, Sainz because Max and Lando crashed.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so do with that
Exciting.
information what you will. What do you think? What do you
I
think?
think that means Mercedes is going to be good again
Probably.
because Mercedes continues to be good at the tracks they were good at last year,
Mm-hmm.
plus a few more this
Right.
year.
Right.
So it's a better Mercedes that like last year it was either like a top runner or non-existent.
Right.
This year it's a little more consistently a top runner. So I actually think um, George will be looking good again. So, and
Well, then
is
where?
it too late for George to catch up into this? Like, what if the Mercedes figured something out with their car, with upgrades? Is it like feasible that he makes a run for the championship?
100%. You want to hear where we're at
Yeah,
standings
yeah,
wise?
yeah, yeah. Overall standings.
Number one, we got Piastri, 198. Two, Norris, 176. Three, Verstappen, 155. And four, Russell, 136.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's what 60 points back, but if he wins races and Piastri gets fourth,
Right.
then he wins the championship.
Yeah.
But
And that seems like those are our top contenders because after that it's Charles and he only has 104. So there's a pretty decent like gap between
yeah,
the rest of the field, but it seems like these
yeah, I don't
four.
think a Ferrari's they haven't won a race and they've barely gone on podiums. So they have not won a race all of 25. Wow.
We're just starting. Seasons long. Lewis Hamilton has won a sprint. What does that mean for Kimmy though? Next race, if the Mercs are doing well,
Good. Yeah, I think he's gonna do well again.
do you think he's gonna have enough momentum that he could be on a podium again?
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So until then, box box.
Box box.